10 years of Marvel movies culminates with Avengers: Infinity War.
This does put a smile on my face.
Daniel, like I said, a decade of Marvel movies to get to this point. What did you think of it?
I think altogether the film was different from any other Marvel film that we've seen. And I think that in particular is what makes it so good.
This is definitely the darkest Marvel movie that we've had yet, and it's also the most fragmented because you have so many different superheroes coming together for one movie that they're split up into all these different storylines. Some work, some don't, but it's all tied together by this villain, Thanos.
Thanos is the center of this film. He's the key to this film. In fact, the film actually follows him more than it does any other character, which is surprising to a degree. It's surprising in the fact that Thanos himself, who we've seen glimpses of up to this point, is given a lot of emotion. Mm-hmm. And that surprised me.
There's some other subplots that this focuses on that you're just kind of like, well, we have to sit through this because it's just, these are the rhythms of Marvel movies, that it's either kind of in a low gear or it's the biggest war you've ever seen on film. It's 2.5 hours long, so after a while it feels like you're just bombarded by so many explosions and stuff that I got a little bit numb to it. Yeah,
pacing issues, definitely. There's some pacing issues here. And like you said, there's a lot of moments here where you're going from a big war, a big action sequence, and then they take you out of that and they bring you to another one, and then they take you out of that and then they bring you to kind of a slower moment. You know, we've got about 4 or 5 stories that they're juggling back and forth. I always knew where I was, and I always knew what the stakes were, but you do kind of grow numb to it, like you said. There's scenes in here where we won't see characters for, what, 30 minutes?
Right.
And then we cut back to them and you go, oh yeah, I forgot they were here too. You know, and then it cuts to another one. So the balancing act is a bit strained here as opposed to Civil War. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Thanos pretty much links it all together, and Josh Brolin does a fantastic job as him. Just steals every scene he's in.
I felt like I want to see this again, not so much to dig into the thematic elements or anything, but to make sense of what was going on because there was just so much at one time. Yeah, I agree with you. I'm definitely going to go see it again because there's a lot to this plot that I really enjoy, and I commend Marvel for going into this territory because this is a risky film to make, and I can see it maybe frustrating a few people because that's what this film is. It's a frustrating film because we're focusing on the bad guy so much and seeing him kind of go through and you know, kind of get what he wants in some ways and really kind of, you know, punish a lot of these heroes that we've come to know and love. It's a frustrating film in the end. And I think one of the most frustrating parts is it's the first half of a film. There's not a whole lot of finality to the ending, and so I think it's going to take the air out of the room and have people talking and figuring out what's going to come next. And yeah, I think Marvel fans that have been following this for 10 years are going to enjoy this, but for me, it doesn't have the same weight or same depth as something like Black Panther or even Thor Ragnarok. But overall, I enjoyed it. I give this 3 Joes out of 5. What would you give it? I'm going to give it 4 Joes out of 5. I thought this was a great film. I definitely see the flaws, but I just have to applaud Marvel for taking the risks that they took. And like you said, I think it's going to get people talking. I think this is going to be a film that people are going to be talking about for a year, I guess, until the next one comes out and finishes up that story. Yeah. To read my review, check out St. Joe Live in Friday's edition of the St. Joseph News Press, or go online to stjoelive.com and join me next week as I review Tully. Until then, we'll be live at the movies. See you later.